We are live. Hello, everyone. I will just check our channels, our social channels, just to see that everything is looking good as we wait for some people to jump on. Just one moment. It's always good to check just in case on the platform it's not live, it's not good. Yep, looks good. Wonderful. So we are live on Facebook and YouTube. So welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us this evening. Today we're going to be having a chat with Manil Kapoor. Now, Manil is a senior automation tester and also our tutor mentor in the Test Analyst Job Ready program. So welcome, Manil. Thank you so much for your time and joining us and sharing some of your insight, etc. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Karla. Happy New Year to you too, and everybody across the Industry Connect and the wider audience. So yeah, and I think this is our second chat and second
yes.
So yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So a bit about me. How I got. So this would be my around. I've been close to half a year now with Industry Connect, mentoring close to 6 or 7 groups as of now. And I'm in test automation kind of senior kind of lead position now, and working with Kiwi Rail, which is kind of a semi-government entity out here in Auckland office of Kiwi Rail. And I have close to 14 years of experience. So initially as being a manual tester when I was in India, starting 2006 with Accenture India, and then moved up in 2014, I moved to New Zealand. And that's how I began my automation journey here. And now I have been like working into mobile test automation space, web UI automation, load testing, and this, creeping slowly into the security testing space because there's a lot of need and requirement for it.
Wow.
And I do run I'm a co-organizer of the biggest meetup group here in Auckland, the Ministry of Testing. So we do quite a few meetups year round. Last year, we did a lot of online meetups and classes. And yeah, and I'm excited to be part of Industry Connect and obviously excited talking to you.
Yes, thanks so much for the intro, Manil. Yes, everyone, Manil is part of like the biggest meetup groups. So we might have just touch on that later on as well, because that's quite exciting as well for people out there that are pursuing a career as a software tester. So we'll touch on that later on. But just to kick it off, Manil, I'd like to we have a lot of people that register for our Test Analyst Job Ready program. They've got a lot of manual testing, have got manual testing, but not automation. And some have actually been told, because of the IT industry, and getting into the industry, they've been told to get into software testing because it's easier. But I'd like you just to explain a bit about manual testing and automation testing, the differences and what that looks like for someone that is looking at a career as a software tester.
Okay. Yeah, I do get this very often, that how to get into testing. So I'll base it a bit on my experience. So when I started up, so I obviously started as a manual tester. So idea of manual testing is to understand testing as an area, contextualize it with the actual software industry. What is the meaning of software testing? So it can be as simple as just picking up any software and testing different features of it, or just creating some documentation, which is kind of daily activity of a manual tester. You go in the morning, you look at your requirement documentation, you create your test cases, and you look at the requirement based on them. You test the software, you create bugs if anything is not working as expected, and you talk about that during your Scrum meetings or daily stand-ups. That's an agile thing. So we basically, this is the flow we do also in our classes when we do our 6-week sessions with Test Analysts. So initially we kind of explain them, and it's all about getting in your head that what testing is, manual testing is, and then why with time, automation is required because that will make your product faster to the market. So basically, if initially a software feature, say Facebook comes up with a like button, hypothetically, say they have. So if the market time was 3 months for a feature, like from development to the actual production, the automation actually makes it faster. In automation, you can actually have it on a click button. Like a lot of companies today just just do a click button release and voila, it's available to you. A new feature is available to you in like minutes, depending on how big their automation suite. So that's what automation enables it. So it's all about understanding it. And yes, software, I won't say it's easy and I won't say it's very difficult. It's just about you need to have passion to, invest. You have to be investigative and you want to know, how things are working and then ask questions. That's a really important concept. Like you should be really inquisitive about as a person when you're entering into this area of software testing, as software testing.
Right. So I like that thing about with automation testing, you're able to get something to the market quicker. And I have seen a lot of, read a lot and researched a lot and read a lot, especially the beginning of this year, about how businesses have changed their mindset and everything going online and wanting to create products that are solutions for their customers. So in that respect as well, having tight timelines, deadlines, so to speak, the importance of having a dedicated software testing team or software tester, so the developers can actually do their job and then tester does theirs. Because I know that a lot of times, Manil, it's just like even writing something, you could look at something and you see no mistakes, but someone else checks it and they see things that need to be fixed. So what are your thoughts around that and what's happening in the global market, so to speak, around that? Because I see that being like the testing side kind of upping now, more software testers needed.
Yeah, as you pointed out, with obviously the COVID coming in, a lot of companies have thought about digitizing their processes. Like, for example, I'll give you an example of a company say who was selling fruits and in a rural kind of community, say Coatesville or somewhere. So those were produce boys. So now they have come up with a website in 2 months' time, and whole of the supply chain has been digitized. So a person like me, sitting in central Auckland, 50 kilometers away, can just go on the website, click button, like I want 5 kg oranges, and their fresh produce comes to me. So this is a quick example of how companies are pivoted towards digitization. And because you need to test these sort of systems, because it's really important for them, like it shouldn't reach to a wrong address, wrong Manil, So these are so that's why this is a simple example of how software testing has increased a lot, like in terms of demand. So this is a very small example. Now, when we talk in terms of huge companies which have, like 1,000 or 10,000 orders processing a day, think about how much testing process or testing people are required by those people. But having said that, these days companies are always looking for people who have hands-on experience, like who have a bit more coding experience also. So that's where we kind of pitch in. And we come in with our 6 weeks course and further like 1 or 2 months of training with the people who come to Industry Connect. We help them connect to the real world. I mean, because all of our trainers, like me per se, I'm working in Industry Connect currently with Kiwi Rail. So we know what people are requiring out of software testers, like what sort of documentation, what are the latest techniques they need, and like API testing of the world and JMeters or performance testing of the world. It's not just about you just test a software. You just look at a 360 view of a software or an application or in the context of the business, and then you test it and provide them a good quality solution and just raise red flags straight away. So we always also teach them to be more communicative and just put your point of view forward as soon as possible. Because it's not about development team and testing team now. It's an intermingled effort these days. That's how you do quality software in a quicker way.
Yeah, exactly. And it's good. So let's just move over now to what with the Test Analyst Job Ready program with Industry Connect. encompasses both. We train in manual testing and automation testing. Can you just give a bit of an overview what that looks like for someone that's interested in joining the program with Industry Connect, how that goes about and what kind of things they learn and what they work with?
Okay, so we have close to 6 weeks of program, like that is the teaching part of it. So the week 1 or 2 are currently dedicated to, like again, telling about what testing is, what manual testing is, what are different areas of testing with different types of manual testing, right from black box, white box, gray box. So those are the terminologies which are used across the industries, which you should know, because it's like the language. You need to know the language when you speak to people, like especially in an interview or when you're doing your technical assessments, which company asks for during interviews. And then eventually we slowly move them based on their skill level to smaller programs or small test cases, and then a bit of requirement documentation during week 2nd mid. And then we move them toward test planning, test strategy planning. It's more of a communicative kind of session at that point of time, first 2 weeks, where we ask them what's your knowledge, and we give them realistic examples from Amazons of the world or Netflix or even, TradeMe. We will pick up different websites or different applications and give them more and more examples of how things have been developed based on our knowledge and how to test them or how to create documentation for them. Then during end of week 2, that's how I do it. And the other tutors, like we give them small snippets of code, like it could be a maths program where we ask them to write A plus B or something like that. Or like a maths class, addition, subtraction, or we give them videos to have a look at and come up with some code. So they get a good idea. The people who have no idea or haven't coded at all have good idea, like during the week 3, where we dive them into the actual automation and the coding aspect of testing. So we have an Industry Connect HOS portal, we call it, which is a live portal which Industry Connect has given to the people for testing. It has quite good features in it. It's a bit buggy, which is good. So you get to know where bugs can be found in the system. So that's a very good part. And that is the program or the software system we use for testing. So by the week 3, we make sure that they get good idea about test automation. Like they are able to write few scripts, like say, click here, go to Google, go to the website, log into the website. During week 4, 5, 6, that's where the real test automation starts. When I say real, the things get, like really a bit brisk for them. So we follow the industry standard, which is SpecFlow, AEDT, which is required by close to 80% of the companies these days. Then we dive into in week 5 API testing, API test automation. We use Postman of the world, and then we also do a bit of test automation. And we have time. Then I per se make sure that we do a bit of DevOps kind of activity, where we ask them to run tests as part of the pipelines, which is again very, very important these days, like a table stake activity required by the companies. And during week 6, we dive into JMeter, which is the biggest or the most popular performance testing tool. So, but initially we tell them about what performance testing is, what API testing is, and what SpecFlow is. So we start the session slowly, but kind of build up on that. And I think we are like all of me and the other folks who are into the testing, test tutoring, we are available even after the sessions for their issues or any things they're facing. And we encourage them to make smaller groups between each other, so they can teach each other and solve each other's problems, and we have recorded videos they can always look at. So yes. I think that and I think even after the sessions, we have quite a good support from folks in Industry Connect with mentors, post-training mentors, which give them exercises and, harden their skills that we've done in 6 weeks. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks. That really explained like the breaking it down like that as to weeks and what you're learning, basically what you're going through is really good for people to know what they're going to be able to get involved with, during that. If they're looking at a career, this is the kind of things that you're going to be connected with when you do the Job Ready program. That's awesome. Thanks so much, Manil. Yes, and so after you finish the Test Analyst Job Ready program, it's a 6-week program, you then move over into a learning enhanced, fully mentored internship with our partnering company, MVP Studio. So MVP Studio only accept our interns because the way and what we teach our participants is what they utilize within their projects. Okay, so they're a software company, they're a global software company, and they take you on, and it's a 3-month learning enhanced, fully mentored internship, and that internship can be extended as well. You're going to be involved. You'll be whatever projects are available at that time. You then get to be involved in those after you've met a certain level within your internship. So that kind of like gives you a whole overview of what you would do when you come into the Test Analyst Job Ready program and you go to internship. So thanks so much for your explanation, Manil. That was awesome. I want to just backtrack again though, with your massive meetup, your meetup group that you have here in Auckland. Do you guys do, or have you ever thought of, if you don't, doing like virtual meetups to connect with around globally?
So we did do few like 2 or 3 classes online. Like when I say classes, so I pick up, like, one of my favorite areas is API testing and test automation. So I took 1 or 2 classes online for API testing. Like it was right from the scratch to the end. You actually have one small framework kind of code builder for test automation, API test automation. So it was 2 hours, 2 2-hour classes, and by the second class, we had a nice pipeline builder for different folks who were part of the class. So this year we are starting to do some sort of mentor programs and all, and we do plan to do a bit more virtual. But idea is because the idea of the meetup is to network, because networking is really important for testers or whoever is in IT industry, because that's how it's one way to find a job in Auckland, or also in Australia, New Zealand, or anywhere in the world, that people should know you, that you're looking for something, and people should understand what your skill set is. Straight looking at. So that's why we kind of home grow a network that way, and we kind of increase people's skill also. And whoever, hey, if you find somebody who wants to speak into our next meetup, has a good idea, we definitely encourage that also. So they get people speaking.
And how often do you have those meetups?
So we plan to do once a month in-house meetups, and we do it in different offices. So we get support from 5 or 6 different companies, and we keep on looking for more support. Like we did, like there's a company called ClearPoint. They have a garage kind of setup. We do meetups there, and then we have few other companies where we are still looking for. We keep on looking. Like Kiwi Rail is one company where my manager says, yes, we'll be happy to do some meetups in April going forward. Yeah. And we also look for good speakers across who can, come through with, like security was a nice theme last year. So we came up with people from Spider Tracks and people from other security companies to have a speak up at our meetup. And UiPath was one of the favorite tools. Like somebody wanted to show, the UiPath company, they came up with this tool and explain the features of the tool in one of the meetups. So yeah. We have kind of mix of things, and this year we are planning to start with something like emotional intelligence, the importance of it, and how to give feedback. So we will touch base on those kind of topics this year.
That's a good topic. We do touch base kind of like on that emotional intelligence type of thing within our workshops when people go over to our internship. So that is interesting that you guys are doing that too, to kind of like touch on that as well, because it's really important. And when you are working in a team environment, when it takes a collaboration, not just one person. So that's awesome that you're doing that there too. But yeah, everyone, we actually do workshops in the internship on soft skills communication, CV writing, letter writing, cover letter writing, that is. And a lot of other things like to build your confidence. We have Team V as well. So there's a lot more involved within the whole picture when you join Industry Connect. You also become part of the family for life. So yeah, but that's really cool. That so is it specific with regard, Manil, to your meetups? Is it like the first Saturday of a month, or is it just randomly different kind of days within a month?
We try to do it on a mid of a month, usually like Tuesday or Wednesday, because Monday is a drag, and again Thursday, Friday is a drag. So we try to look at Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay.
Mid or third week most probably. So depending on how things are these days, you never know. There will be like fingers crossed there won't be another lockdown, but you never know how things go. But
yeah, exactly. Fingers crossed for that. No other lockdowns. Exactly. So you did touch on in the beginning, Manil. Hold on, I'll just see if we might have a question here. We have a question here. What have we got here? Chene Cherem Uzondu, any Zoom section and jobs around Ireland for international students?
Zoom
section and jobs around. No, there. As far as jobs go, Chen, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly. So apologies if I'm not. We get you job ready. We don't give you jobs. So we look at you holistically. So get you upskilled in the technologies that are in high demand globally. And then from there, you have the internship, which is a gifted internship, like I explained, learning enhanced, fully mentored. And that gives you the commercial local experience that then employers can see that you've got the guts, you've got what it takes to do software testing, whatever that looks like for that employer. Okay. So I don't know what you mean by Zoom section, but I hope I've answered that correctly. If I haven't, just comment again and I'll get back to you. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. Now you did touch on it before slightly, I think, in the beginning, Manil, but what would a typical day for a junior software tester look like? Could you kind of like give like a typical day,
Okay. So a typical day would be obviously depending on how early they enter the company. So they will get in. Usually, a lot of companies follow agile model of Scrum, like project development. So it'll be either Scrum, Kanban, or any other. So let's talk about a Scrum methodology. So in the morning, according to the agreed time in the team, they will have a stand-up meeting at say 10 or 11, where everybody stand-up meetings, like all of people go to an area of a team. Say there are 6 or 7 people, mix of say 3 developers, 2 testers, a development lead, a project manager, a product owner, or a BA. So all of them will one by one take turns and talk for a minute max about what they have been doing yesterday, what have they able to achieve, what did they get any impediments, and what they will do today. So everybody across the team knows that what other person is doing, and they can take questions at the end, like if there is a dependency on anybody else. So it's important for testers because then they get the 360 idea of what people are doing and what they can expect is coming for them to be tested, and what sort of requirements are coming in terms of product owners, what are the newer requirements, so they can even question them afterwards, so they can create the test cases pretty early or have an idea about the current software system and even think further ahead. Then they obviously sit down and look at the software system, if it is ready, if some features are ready in terms of development, which environment, if they're in part of dev environment or QA environment, just talk to developers on what sort of testing they are they performing any sort of testing in terms of unit testing or integration testing, which will save somewhat their time and can start finding bugs a bit earlier. And then obviously look at the features in terms of manual testing, start creating some test scripts or look at the requirements. The most important part is very early start testing, look at the requirement documentation. I know it's boring at times, it can be 30, 40, 50 pages, but that's where it's like book for you, that's where you get the real knowledge of the software.
It's like a blueprint, wouldn't it be? Would you say that? It's like a blueprint for you to kind of like visualize where and what's going to be coming for you, so to speak.
Then you can, if it's like, if you can't make sense of 1 + 1 = 2, just go to your BA that, okay, this doesn't make sense. So just keep on having scribble notes for you. So this is something coming for you. Because a lot of times people are learning, while the iteration of a project is working. That's what Scrum is. You iterate, You in your iteration 1 for 2 weeks, you create a sample project, and then iteration 2 you improve upon it. So nobody has, not a lot of teams have an idea of what they have started on and what the product gets finished. So a tester actually can have a lot of say in a project if he or she puts the right questions at the right point of time. And there is no wrong questions. Just have whatever questions you have, you can ask to your BA. Just have a rapport builder with them. Never. I know people can be inquisitive, like people can be extrovert and introvert, but try to maintain a good balance. And if you're introvert, just use nails. I would say, because I'm an extrovert. I understand. I've worked with quite a few introvert people who don't like to openly speak up and because their own confidence. But let your messages speak for yourself, or emails.
Especially if you've read through that and you've seen something that maybe a better way could be looked at, or whatever. Just bring those ideas, because like you said, even asking questions or any idea, that you have is never a stupid idea. It just might not be the right one for that product or that time.
Yeah. And people, especially in Australia and New Zealand, are really appreciative of the people putting their own point of view. If they aren't, that's not the right place for you to work in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a short story. But I think in the mid of the day, so they obviously will raise bugs based on if the requirements or the functionality is not matching, and then plan their day ahead and talk to a few folks. And if they're into automation, so this was a junior tester who was manual testing. If he or she would be doing automation, so look at any existing code sets if there are. Work on their programming knowledge towards the day. And also, look at, try building up some code snippets even before the code has come. So they can build up a skeleton framework, which obviously we do teach people how to build small skeleton frameworks during our training, and they can implement something similar. So it's good. So basically, I called it POC, proof of concept. It's good to do some small proof of concept to show to your team whenever you enter an IT company. So you can actually get a buy-in from everybody before starting up on a big journey of creating automation test frameworks, or even like creating 100 automation scripts. Just start small and be confident in it. If you're confident, and then, from there build up with the test automation suite or test automation framework, whatever it is. And you can always come back to your mentors who are like me, or people who are there, other industry connect, to get an idea of how to, start the journey even when you're a company.
Right. But, fantastic. Yeah. Thanks so much, Manil. That kind of a great kind of visual for me to actually see as you were talking about, what you do. But I like that to kind of like present something and to get the buy-in. That's such a good way in which to, to go forward with a project, to get a buy-in from your team or whoever that is when you present something like that. But that's a really good way in which to do it, because everyone that you don't know that I'm on here, I'm not technical. So this is really nice to actually hear how things are done. So thanks so much, Manil. We have got another question here from Chiram again. An international student Ireland, so we'd like to know if this course can help me get a job. It will give you what you need to get your foot in the door, and with everything, with the internship as well, you will have that local commercial experience. So you'll be looked upon, because you've got that local experience, as being someone that is able to do that work. Obviously, you apply for positions that you have the right skill set, but definitely the program and the internship coupled together with the workshops for soft skills and everything, interview tips and all that kind of thing, will definitely help you to get your foot in the door to interviews and then get you into a job. I would suggest, Chiram, is that you pop over to our website, register your interest in our Test Analyst Job Ready program, and our team member Kunal will then give you a call to have a bit of a chat about that a bit more, and you can ask more questions then. So pop over to our website. I will put that in the comments, and register your interest there. Okay. So I think that's a wrap. Kunal, thank you so much for your time and everything and explaining everything. I think that's been really good for a lot of people that are interested in a career as a software tester, and also looking at our Job Ready program, what they can expect as well. So before I go, I better just put our website in here, and there you go. Anyone that is interested in our Test Analyst Job Ready program or any of our other programs, pop onto this link, and then from there register your interest, and one of the team members will be in touch with you. So thanks everyone for joining us this evening here in New Zealand, whether an afternoon everywhere else in the world or evenings. So we will be back next week with another special guest. Keep an eye out on our Facebook page. We also will be interviewing some people that have got jobs recently to kick off 2021. So thanks so much again, everyone. Thanks again, Manil. See you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.